A few years ago, when I first moved to London, I can remember playing a piece to my teacher, or a short passage from a piece, just a couple of lines, and afterwards he asked me, "How many times have you played through that?" And I thought it was quite a weird question because we don't tend to think in terms of how many times we've worked through something. We tend to think of how many hours we've spent working on something. So I kind of thought about it and I thought, well, I don't know, I've played through it quite a few times, but it's still not so smooth, it's a bit rough. So I said 20 times, I think. And at the time that seemed like quite a fair number. But thinking about it now, that passage only took about 30 seconds to play. So playing through it 20 times means that I'd only spent 10 minutes working on it. So this leads me to question, how many times do we need to repeat something when we're practicing? Well, first of all, why is repetition a good idea? Repeating an action again and again is how we improve our muscle memory. And ultimately, whenever we're playing the guitar, an awful lot of what we're doing is thanks to muscle memory that we've already developed. So when we need to learn a new movement, repetition will help us develop our muscle memory. However, it's not possible to just play through something again and again without giving it any thought. We have to play with focus and control. This means playing slowly enough that you have control over the movements in your fingers. Remember, we don't have muscle memory yet, so we need to be focused and playing slowly enough to make sure that everything we do is absolutely correct. Because if we repeat the wrong things, these will become muscle memory. And we don't want this. We want to develop good habits, which then turn into good muscle memory. Imagine I wanted to imprint a straight line in this sheet of cardboard. I have to go very slowly at first because there's no set groove. But over time, the groove starts to develop, and I can go a bit quicker, and a straight line has formed. This groove is like muscle memory. After a while, it becomes a lot easier to get the exact movement just how you want it. But at first, we have to go very slowly with focus and control to make sure that our movements are correct and precise. If we repeat this enough times, we'll develop good muscle memory. A better example is probably the grooves on a vinyl record. When a record is being played and it's going round, the needle is placed in the groove and the record spins easily and smoothly. However, if there were no pre-made grooves, the needle on the record player would have to imprint its own groove, and that would take a long time. At first, it would have to be a slow and controlled movement, but eventually when you place down the needle, it would just fall into the groove like normal. So how does this translate onto the guitar? Well, having good muscle memory will make our playing easier and smoother, and it will also translate into the music, giving us a better performance. When we're first looking at a new passage, we need to play very slowly to make sure that our movements are precise. If there are any mistakes at this stage, they're likely to develop into the groove, and then as we continue playing over time, these bad mistakes will stick with us. It may be necessary to repeat this movement many times, so that we develop a good groove or muscle memory, and then eventually we'll be able to play very quickly. I tried this exercise with a student recently, and we found that after only a few goes you can notice an improvement. However, you have to make sure that there's absolutely no mistakes and you maintain focus throughout the exercise. In just 5 minutes, it's possible to do this maybe 20 times, at which point you can really start to feel like you're getting into a groove. However, it's then necessary to repeat this exercise over many days so that you develop good long-term habits. The result of all these practice sessions will result in you repeating the music hundreds of times, at which point you'll start to feel really comfortable and the music will begin to sound really smooth.